Trucks were built for grit, for hauling, for hard days, not for showroom flexing. But somewhere along the road, they turned into luxury toys with price tags that could drown a working man in debt. Just when it felt like practicality had been permanently priced out, Nissan's CEO flipped the script with a truck that's all backbone, no bloat. It hauls like a beast, lasts for more than 300,000 miles, and costs less than a compact sedan. But how did Nissan manage to build the most practical truck of the decade and keep the price of a lawn tractor? While Ford and Hyundai continue pumping out unibody trucks that are barely distinguishable from compact SUVs, Nissan is throwing the industry a curveball. The new NP300 doesn't pretend to be a truck. It is one through and through. No crossover DNA, no SUV suspension, no compromises. It is a tool, not a lifestyle accessory. And it's this unapologetic practicality that is about to embarrass every other automaker still pretending that smaller trucks have to be weaker ones. And then what comes next is the part that will make industry insiders sweat. Because Nissan didn't just talk a big game, they built one. The NP300 rides on the legendary Navara D23 body-on-frame chassis, a platform that has been torture-tested across 5 continents. While the Ford Maverick flexes under pressure and the Santa Cruz shakes at the sight of a gravel driveway, the NP300 has already proven its worth in Australian mining camps, South African infrastructure projects, and rural farmlands in Mexico. This isn't a truck that needs to wait and see how it performs. It's already been there, done that, and dragged a full load behind it while doing so. The Navara D23's chassis rigidity and load distribution beat out pricier mid-size competitors who charge thousands more for less stability. Real-world tests show that the NP300's body handles twisting, towing, and hauling with a confidence that exposes just how fragile many modern trucks have become. Underweight, under stress, on bad roads, this thing doesn't flinch. It was designed to endure, not entertain. The bones of this truck are stronger than the brochure claims of its competitors. And it's not just strong, it's consistent too. Unlike brands that rush flashy new models into production only to suffer first-year bugs, Nissan's NP300 is being assembled at their seasoned facility in Cuernavaca, Mexico. This plant has churned out durable, globally used trucks for decades and operates with dialed-in manufacturing precision. Supply chains are already stable. Assembly lines are proven. There are no hiccups, no excuses, no slow recalls because someone forgot to test a sensor. Buyers won't be playing guinea pig with a version 1.0. They're getting a machine that's already done the hard miles and come out the other side bulletproof. And one of the biggest reasons the NP300 doesn't just match competitors, it outlives them, is hidden under the hood. Nissan didn't chase horsepower headlines or flashy engine tech. Instead, they chose something far more dangerous to their rivals: a bulletproof 2.5-liter naturally aspirated gasoline engine. No turbo, no hybrid complexity, just 166 horsepower powered by a chain-driven setup that's been proven to cross 300,000 miles without blinking. This is the kind of engine your local mechanic knows by heart, and that alone saves you thousands over the truck's lifetime. It's not built for the track. It's built for the next 10 winters and 1,000 job site mornings. The optional diesel variant flips the entire conversation. It puts out 161 horsepower and a jaw-dropping 300 pound-feet of torque. The kind of torque that moves loaded trailers uphill without hesitation. More importantly, it's a global diesel platform with a reputation for surviving 400,000 miles and beyond in markets that don't even have paved roads. It's the kind of engine you find in fleets that run 16 hours a day and don't stop for weather, terrain, or breakdown excuses. This isn't innovation. This is mechanical endurance built to laugh at abuse. And somehow, this engine doesn't just work harder, it also works smarter. In a market flooded with hybrids and fake eco-labels, this diesel powertrain delivers up to 30 miles per gallon in the city and a staggering 37 on the highway. That's not a lab test. That's real-world, loaded-bed highway miles, numbers that beat the Ford Maverick hybrid when the rubber actually hits the road. It's the kind of efficiency that transforms fuel stops from a burden to an afterthought, especially for fleets running multiple trucks day after day. At a time when fuel costs cripple small operators, this engine turns that liability into a strength. The NP300 is one of the last trucks standing with a manual transmission option, and that matters. Fewer sensors, fewer software updates, no electronic shift modules waiting to fail. Just simple gear-to-gear mechanical drive that gives you control, longevity, and dirt-cheap repairs. And even when repairs are needed, parts are globally available, used in millions of trucks worldwide. You're not waiting on a shipment from Germany or a recall fix in beta testing. You're getting 40% cheaper maintenance than most mid-size trucks in its class. And that gap only widens with age. And now comes the part that'll make every competitor squirm. This truck starts at just around $22,000. Let that number settle in for a second. Rest assured, that's not a typo. That's the actual base price for a fully functioning, real-deal, work-ready machine. To put it bluntly, you could walk into a dealership and grab this beast for less than the cost of a Honda Civic. Meanwhile, the so-called affordable Ford Maverick starts above $25,000, gives you less bed space, less towing, and rides on a platform meant for grocery runs, not job sites. But the real punch lands when you compare what you're actually getting for those dollars. Because if you try to spec out something with comparable strength, let's say a Toyota Tacoma or Nissan Frontier, you're instantly looking at $33,000 to $45,000. And that's before you add the features that make it functional. And even then, you're still paying more for trucks that come bloated with unnecessary trim packages, digital distractions, and off-road branding meant more for Instagram than infrastructure. The NP300 doesn't need to posture. It backs up every claim with actual mechanical value, actual numbers, and actual usability. And one more thing. The NP300 may cost less, but nothing about its performance feels discounted. This truck tows up to 6,600 pounds, putting it shoulder to shoulder with mid-size heavy hitters like the Toyota Tacoma and Nissan's own Frontier. But while those trucks climb toward the $40,000 range to deliver that kind of power, the NP300 does it straight out of the gate. Hauling a loaded trailer, a boat, or a work trailer full of equipment, this truck won't flinch. It was engineered for this level of pressure, not just once or twice, but day after day, year after year. And when you're not towing, it's still pulling its weight, literally. The payload capacity crosses 2,700 pounds, enough to carry an entire pallet of bricks, a riding mower, or a full-day load of contractor tools without squatting. Most trucks in this price range don't come close to those numbers. The NP300 doesn't just meet the standard, it quietly resets it. This isn't a theoretical capability printed on a brochure. These are numbers that have been field-tested in punishing real-world scenarios across rugged environments. The math checks out, and more importantly, the truck survives it. Nissan designed this suspension with gravel, potholes, and uneven job sites in mind. This isn't the soft, city-optimized setup you'll find in a Santa Cruz. The NP300 can take a daily beating and still hold its ground, literally. Whether you're hauling to a rural build site or unloading landscaping gear on a rocky shoulder, the underpinnings of this truck were built to absorb punishment without compromise. Over time, that means fewer realignments, less sag, and far less money wasted on worn-down support systems. With high ground clearance, strategically placed cargo tie-downs, and ladder rack compatibility built into the bed design, the NP300 is optimized for all-day use. It's not just about load strength, it's about how efficiently you can work around the truck itself. And the most explosive part is still about to hit. While the competition boasts about touchscreens and ambient lighting, Nissan went back to the blueprint that matters. The single cab layout doesn't waste space pretending to be a family SUV. Instead, it unlocks what real workers value most: a 7.7-foot bed that actually fits full sheets of plywood flat. Inside the cab, it gets even better. Nissan didn't waste time with stitched leather or gesture-controlled climate systems. Instead, they built an interior that embraces dirt, not fears it. Heavy-duty vinyl flooring shrugs off mud and grime. Water-resistant seat materials laugh at spilled coffee, cement dust, and sweat-soaked workwear. Every switch, knob, and handle is rugged, oversized, and glove-friendly. Not because it looks cool, but because it works when you need it most. This interior doesn't care what you wore to the job. It only cares that you get it done. And when you're hustling through your day, those small details can make or break your workflow. Even the cabin's storage solutions feel like a quiet rebellion against overpriced impracticality. The center console is deep enough to swallow clipboards and logbooks, not just your phone. Door pockets are wide enough to hold work gloves, pliers, or an extra thermos. The layout is designed so nothing interferes with what you need to carry, and everything is exactly where your hand expects it to be. There's no need to dig through touchscreen menus just to check your oil or turn off a headlight chime. This truck speaks your language. No translation needed. For more brutally honest breakdowns and industry-shaking reveals like this one, hit that subscribe button, because the truth about what you're really driving is just getting started.